Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great Muslim of well and lead the flock by example, and Shalom to the elect that are listening and learning, man, in these last days. Now, today's lesson, I wanted to do, a lesson on the word mark. Okay, and a lot of these other Israelite camps that are so-called, which they know they're Israel and they're teaching Israel, but they differ on a doctrine. They're going off on a doctrine, and you also got Christians and whatever people that go into the scriptures. A lot of our people they're not diligent. They're not going into the understanding of words, and that's why we're doing these lessons to teach and guide you. For you to start going into the Hebrew, the Greek, and gaining more understanding on the scriptures. And one of the most important things when you're studying the scriptures is to understand, man. Okay, there's no point reading it if you don't understand. The scriptures say, with all thy getting, get understanding. Now, like I said, I wanted to go into the word mark in this lesson. And I'm going to start off with this mark here in Romans, the 16th chapter and 17th verse, to show you that although in the English, the word there is mark, okay, and there's other examples in the scriptures where the word is mark, it has different meanings behind them, okay, for you to gain understanding. So I'm going to read this in Romans 16 and 17 and then go from there. Now it says, now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. Which, that means if a guy is teaching something other than the truth, okay, which the truth, the 100% truth, starting with is with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down, man, okay? We have got the true testimony of Yahweh Shai, the true doctrine. So when there's a guy who's coming up and, he's teaching otherwise, we mark them. Now, the word there in the Greek should be skopeo. Let's go into that word there, man. Yeah, there we go, skopeo. And it says, to look at, observe, contemplate, to fix, to mark, to fix one's eyes upon, direct one's attention to anyone, to look to, take heed to thyself. It's like, for example, when you got like a sniper, and what does it have on the top of the sniper that is attached to it? The scope. Okay? So that you can hone in, okay, with a light, and to your target. Well, it's the same thing with this word. Okay, you're fixing one's eyes upon, you're directing your attention to, and you're marking that man. Okay, be wary of him. Okay, because he's teaching opposite. He's teaching contrary to the doctrine which you have learned. Okay. So that's one example of the word mark there. Now I'm going to go into the mark in Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4. It says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So that means that there's a certain chosen, there's a certain people, okay, this is talking about the elect of the nation of Israel, okay, that are sighing and crying for the abominations that are being done in the midst thereof, man. All right. Like, for example, when we go on the highways and byways and we curse this society out, curse this place out and proclaim its destruction. When we do these lessons against Esau, exposing his wickedness, we going into the scriptures, okay, of the prophecies of the destruction. We're sighing and crying for the abominations that are being done in the midst thereof, man. All right. Now, when you go into that word mark, because it says what? Set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry. So if you're doing that, that means you hate this place. You're seeking a city to come. All right. You're not happy with this place, man. Okay, because why? Because it's wicked. So what mark is this talking about? Is this the same mark that's in Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 16th verse? No. Let's go into the word there, man. And the word there should be Thawa. All right. It says, desire, mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. Okay. So if you've got this mark, that's this Thawa, all right, this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, okay, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, then you're gonna be exempt from that judgment, man. Okay, because that's what the elect are gonna have. The elect are gonna have the Thawa. Now let's find out quickly before I jump to Revelation 13 what's gonna happen to those that don't have this Thawa. Okay. So we found out what's gonna happen to those that have the Thawa. All right. Now let's find out the ones that don't. It says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity, which means kill. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So if you've got that mark, that Thawa, that mark of exemption, then the destroyer ain't coming for you, man. All right? But everyone else is going to get slayed, okay, upon the return of Yahweh Shemel Shai and these angels that are going to bring what? Destruction, man. All right? Now, let's jump to Revelation. And I hope I don't clip this. Right? This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. It says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now this mark is different to the word that we read earlier in Romans and the word that we read in Ezekiel. So we need to find out what this mark is, because this is a mark that's going to be caused to be taken. Okay? This can be received in the right hand and the forehead. You can't buy or sell unless you have that mark. So let's find out what it is. All right. Now when you go into the word mark there, the word there in the Greek is charagma. Okay. As you can see, it's different. Okay. It's not scopeo. It's not thawa. It's charagma. Okay. It says thing carved, sculpture, graven work. Okay. Which what it really means is something that's carved into you, something that's cut into you, man. All right. How do we know that? Let's get an example of another place where this is used. I believe it's in is it Acts 17? Bear with me. Bear with me. Here we go. Acts 17. I believe it's in 17 and 29. Let's have a quick look at this word. So the word it's not mark in the English. Okay, but we read the mark in Revelation 13. When you see the word graven there, it's the same word. Okay. So it says, for as much then as we are the offspring of the Most High, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. Like when they get a chisel, okay, they got a block of stone and they're making it into what? A figurine, an idol. All right. That's what was happening. So it's going to be something that's going to be cut into you, man. Let's go back to Revelation 13. Okay, something that's going to be put under your skin. So it's very important to know what this is, because I'm going to tell you why in a second, man. All right? I'm going to show you. Sorry. You're not meant to take this mark, but I'm going to show you what happens to those that take this charagma. Okay? Because by the way, what this is talking about, okay, is the CHIP. Okay? The MICROCHIP. That's what it's talking about. Now let's go to Revelation 14 and verse 9. It says, and because we found out now that, you know, what they're planning to do, this prophecy, okay, how they're looking to put that into everyone. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. So if you receive it now, if you take that, it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Meaning you're gonna eat a missile, man. Meaning you're gonna be, you're gonna be part of that great meat grinder, okay? You're gonna be dead, man. You're gonna be part of that destruction. It says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day and no night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So pretty much, man, it's important to understand words, because then you're not going to be getting muddled up, man. All right. So this is just one example of when you go into the words in English. This is why it's important to study. The scriptures say, study, show thyself approved, rightly dividing the word of truth. And our apostles and elders have always taught us to go into words by setting an example and teaching us, okay, to go into the words, to the Hebrew, to the Greek, to understand etymology, the Latin, and so on and so forth, man. And that way you garner more understanding. So it's very important to go into this, man. Okay. And, you know, through this lesson, we've learned a little bit more. Like, you have other examples. For example, you got Christians that love to bring out John 3 and 16. Okay. Oh, for God so loved the world. When you go into that word world, the word there is cosmos. Why? Because it's a particular group, it's a particular assortment, a particular cosmos, a particular world. Talking about the world of Israel, man. You go into Luke, the 2nd chapter, the word world there is oikoumene, meaning the whole inhabited earth. So by going into the Greek and to the Hebrew, you gain more understanding of what's actually being said, man. All right. That's why this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to be the stability of our times. So, hey, you know, this is the quick one. And Lord willing, it was an edifying lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Kadash. With that, man, I'm going to say shalom. Shalom to the elect.